Hi, it is October 12th and at the start of another day. Plans for today. I need to get the fruit for the Christmas cakes on to soak. I believe I videoed me making my Christmas cake for last Vlogtober. This time I'm actually going to tell you the recipe as I do it. It won't be a super duper long video, but I will tell you the quantities I'm putting in the bowls, and I will show you the recipe in my recipe file as well. So if you want to make my Christmas cakes, you can. I'm actually sharing my secret recipe. It's not that secret. I got it off the internet, oh, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. And I think it was a fair trade Oxfam recipe on their website years and years ago, but I couldn't swear to that, or maybe it had been on the packet of something and somebody had put on the internet, I'm not sure. Tweaked it a bit over the years, and I will share my recipe or my version of the recipe with you today. I'm not baking the cakes today because the fruit has to soak, but I will show you what I will do with that. And this afternoon I'm thinking maybe I'll put up some Halloween-y decorations. I haven't really put my autumn ones up yet this year, so it's kind of the autumn decorations with a few extra bits, so might do that too, depends how I'm going for time. Okay, this is my recipe for Christmas cake. As you can see, it's in Imperial because that's how I work when I'm baking. I don't generally use a set of scales except for my Christmas cake pretty much, and I work in ounces for most things. I'll work in grams sometimes as well, but if I'm baking I tend to work in ounces. So for example, I use a measuring spoon and I know how much an ounce is on that spoon, that sort of thing, and I don't even bother getting the scales out. But I tend to for my Christmas cake because just to be on the safe side. So I usually make 2 of these, and that's the method. I make 2 of these each year, mostly because my husband gets through the Christmas cake so quickly. If I don't make 2, I won't get more than pretty much 1 slice of the cake, so I'm going to be making 2. And the one year I'm really glad I made 2 Christmas cakes is the year I accidentally dropped one and it rolled across the floor. So I was really pleased that I did 2 that year. So I've got my brandy, and I've got my currants and my sultanas and my cherries and oranges, because on the method it says just to soak the fruit and half the brandy, and probably put the zest in elsewhere. Don't think it actually says, but now I actually put my zest in at the same time as I put the brandy in, so I will be doing that too. So let's get this fruit on to soak overnight. Okay, so I say overnight, it's nowhere near night, but actually the fruit's going to end up soaking for 2 days, because tomorrow I'm quite busy and I won't have time to cook the Christmas cake because it needs to cook for up to 3 hours, and we are going to be out part of the day, so it'll probably be soaking until Monday. So that's 2 days, but that's fine. I mean, you could soak your fruit for several days. It's going to be soaked in brandy. So first of all, I have my scales, which is looking a bit grubby actually because it does not live in my kitchen. It usually gets used for weighing things like fibre and yarn and things like that, so it doesn't actually live in the kitchen. It lives elsewhere with my, well, with my bits and bobs and what have you. So I had to fetch this in to use this because, like I said before, I don't use a set of scales for baking pretty much except for Christmas, and that's it. So I have 2 bowls because I'm making 2 cakes, and I'm going to weigh out the fruit for each of them into the bowl. So I'm going to add sultanas, the currants, I'm going to halve the cherries. Basically, it says 4 ounces in the recipe, but I'm going to be using more than 4 ounces. I will probably use most of a container in a Christmas cake, if not the whole tub. It depends how I feel in a few minutes. So, and then I'll add the zest from the oranges and the brandy to soak. So I'm just going to put the scales on. Put the bowl on, reset to 0, and start adding my fruit, if it'll work. Set to 0. Anytime now. Work. Please work. It won't work. There we go. Right, so I'm going to put these in and then I will come back to talk to you once I've got to probably the zest stage. So what I've ended up doing is adding around 2/3 of a container per bowl. The 200-gram containers, that's about 4 ounces per cake, and that's left me 2/3 of a tub left to make a cherry and angelica cake at some point in the future, because I love cherry and angelica cake. I don't know if you've ever used candied angelica. It doesn't have a lot of flavour, but it's bright green. So you have these cherries and the bright green flecks of, I mean, it does have flavour, but not a lot. And I love cherry and angelica cake, or just cherry cake. I just really love cherry. I think you would call it pound cake, but basically a plain cake. It's kind of drier than a Victoria sandwich cake, more like an old-fashioned cake. It doesn't got as much fat and sugar in it, but with cherries in, it's lovely, and I really, really like it. So I can still make cherry cake. So I've just halved those cherries. Also, I've added sultanas, and if you live stateside, that's what you call golden raisins, basically. So now I'm going to do, I was about to grate some pumpkin in. I don't mean to do that. Orange zest next. So I need to find my zester. I found my zester, and I'm going to add the zest, the oranges, into the bowls. Actually, I wonder if these are a bit big. I have some smaller oranges. Decisions. I'll just use these. Okay, I'm not adding the juice, I'm just adding the zest. Now, if you didn't want to add brandy to your cake, you could just use the juice from the oranges instead of the brandy. So you'd add the zest and the juice of one large orange into each one instead of the brandy, but I'm using brandy. Okay, brandy. Any brandy will do. Cheap brandy is fine. This is basically the cheapest brandy I could get that day. And it's cooking brandy. Although I did use it the other day to make John a hot toddy because he was feeling pretty grim and he thought he was coming down with the flu. With a mini school driver, that means school bugs as well. So I made him a hot toddy that night, which was basically chopped up glassed ginger in the bottom of a very small cup, and to that I added a good spoonful of honey and a good squeeze of lemon juice. What else went in there? I think that was it, and then I topped it up halfway up the cup with boiling water, give it a stir, melted all the honey and what have you, and topped it up with brandy, and he drank that down and he enjoyed it because it tasted rather nice, and he felt a lot better the next day. I can highly recommend a hot toddy. So Now we need to put this fruit to soak. So I used to measure this, but I don't anymore. Basically, I just give it a good slug of brandy. So we're talking maybe a couple of measures, 2 or 3 measures per bowl. Not a lot. Some people put gallons of alcohol in their fruitcake. I don't know if you put alcohol in fruitcake in America. Maybe that's how everybody in America says it's horrible. It's not. You just have to make it right. So a slosh. See, it's not gone down that far on the bottle. It was like there to begin with. Give that a stir. The idea really is to have enough to coat the fruit, make it all glossy, and only have a little wee bit of liquid in the bottom of the bowl once you've stirred it up, and the fruit will soak up the brandy, or pretty much soak up the brandy. That's the idea, is it, for it to soak up pretty much all of the brandy. Another thing, and the reason why I've used orange zest in my cake, I don't like, or I thought I didn't like, candied peel. I don't like shop bought candied peel, like mixed peel. It's basically mixed orange and lemon peel. It's so bitter, it's just horrible, dry, bitter stuff. I think it's the candied lemon that does it, it's just really, really bitter. But I make candied orange peel myself, and that's so nice. It's just like eating sweets. Although I guess there's that much sugar in it, it probably is like eating sweets. Which I tend to use for making panettone. I don't know if that's pronounced right, by the way. Everybody says panettone. It could be panettone for all I know. But panettone, that Italian Christmas bread. It's like this big. And I put candied orange in that. And I've used it for other Christmas recipes as well. So I like candied orange, but not candied mixed peel. So I add, the recipe stated to have orange zest in, I think. Maybe it didn't, maybe I started adding the orange zest, I can't remember. It's been so long since I got this recipe. So that's it for today with the Christmas cake, and I'll leave this, normally I would just leave this till tomorrow, but like I said, we're going to be popping out tomorrow to visit with a friend and to visit with Mum, so I'm going to be leaving this to soak till Monday. So, right, put these away and see what he's up to, and then on to my next task. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, you just want to cover these up whilst they soak. Either use cling film or use those wax covers, or whatever it is you cover your things with, you do that. Yeah, so yeah, probably not foil though, alcohol doesn't react well. So I'm going to cover these up and just leave them on the worktop, smelling all of orange and brandy. That is the smell of Christmas. That and spices, but that's for later. Okay, I'm going to be putting up some autumn decorations and Halloween stuff. This should have been done weeks ago. I usually put these things up beginning of September, but I know I was away, so then just never got done. So I've got my cross stitch that I did a few years ago. I don't think it had autumn wrote here when on the pattern design. I think I changed that to autumn. Maybe it had Halloween, I think, but I put autumn so I could put this up in September and have it up all autumn instead. I've got some cushion covers, some autumn ones, Halloween, pumpkin. I've got my patchwork cushion cover that I made, I don't think it was last year, I think it was the year before. I can't remember. I've got things like tea causes to go in the kitchen. This is going to be a bit quite dark because I'm in here. Let me switch the lamp on. That's a little better. Right, so I've got those. I've got some foliage stuff, wreaths. I made this wreath. Needs a bit of repair work. I have to get my glue gun out because that's broken. This one I made with this one I made with willow out of the garden to make the wreath base, and I added, this is upside down, the bowl needs plumping out. I've just grabbed this out from upstairs out of the cupboard, so it needs plumping and preening. We've got some Hessian wired ribbon and fir cones and fake foliage and such like. And I've got my patchwork quilt that I made a few years ago as well to hang up, but that will need to be ironed before I hang it. Some bits and pieces in the box there, and I think there's a box with more Halloweeny things in as well in the cupboard under the stairs. So get these things put where they're supposed to go.